I'm glad it only lasted a day.
You're probably the only one at CNN that's glad.
No. We're not.
The rest of them are all lying about me taking horse medication. We should talk about that.
That bothered you.
It should bother you too. They're lying at your network about people taking human drugs versus drugs for
It's
veterinary.
calling it a horse dewormer is not a flattering thing. I get that.
It's a lie. It's a lie on a news network, and it's a lie that's a willing. That's a lie that they're conscious of. It's not a mistake.
Yeah.
They're unfavorably framing it as veterinary medicine.
Well, the FDA put this thing out. You saw that. Did you see that thing that the FDA put out?
What did the FDA put out?
It was a tweet, and it was snarky. I admit it. They said, "You are not a horse. You are not a cow. Stop taking this stuff," or something like that.
Why would you say that when you're talking about a drug that's been given out to billions and billions of people, a drug that was responsible for one of the inventors of it making the Nobel Prize in 2015?
Yeah.
Yeah, a drug that has been shown to stop viral replication in vitro. You know that, right? Why would they lie and say that's horse dewormer? I can afford people medicine, motherfucker. This is ridiculous. It's just a lie.
I don't think anyone is.
But don't you think that a lie like that is dangerous on a news network when you know that they know they're lying?
All right, hang on. The thing is, we're like going
real quick. I gotta interrupt. Listen to the capitulation and the equivocation going on from Sanjay. Joe's like, it's a lie. It's a lie. That should bother you. It's a lie. And he's like, well, he was even trying to mitigate there. He's like, it's not horse dewormer. This is people medicine. He's like, well, it's like not well. Ivermectin is people
This guy is
medicine.
a doctor also. I think he's the official doctor for CNN, like, right?
Yeah,
he's Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
He's their chief medical analyst.
Yeah, so he's the one who understands better than anyone that ivermectin is people medicine.
Right. And he's like, yeah, you know, well, it's the CDC's fault. They put out that tweet. I mean, that's whose fault it is. You're not a horse. You're not a cow. Stop taking this stuff. And Joe's like, yeah, it's a lie, but you guys are lying
about me specifically.
About me.
Yeah.
And the billions of people who have taken this thing. It's weird because you know, we talk about white privilege or whatever, but in America we don't have very many parasitic infections. Right? Our infections tend to be bacterial or viral.
That's first world privilege, not white privilege.
I said white privilege. No, I'm joking. But yeah, it's so you have ivermectin's a really popular drug in Africa where they deal with a lot of parasitic infections. In North America and Europe, not so many parasitic infections. They don't have to worry about it. So ivermectin isn't as popular here. But that doesn't mean it's not an effective and useful drug. And the interesting thing is, if we were allowed to discuss and explore this, there are some surveys out there that suggest, as Joe alluded to very briefly, that ivermectin has strong antiviral properties as well. Even though it's primarily an antiparasitic, they've seen very good results on viral treatments and specifically on COVID. Like this is something that in other countries that are free to talk about it and hadn't been at the time, especially pushing the vaccine mandate as heavily. There were doctors for a while trying to figure out if this is an effective preventative, prophylactic. And we just unfortunately never got around to whether or not people, like frontline healthcare workers should be taking this stuff in a prophylactic manner. Not everybody, maybe. Like maybe you don't want to give the entire world ivermectin to eat constantly during the pandemic, but treating people who are frontline medical workers or first responders or something,
or people dealing with adverse effects, perhaps from like. I don't even know. I gotta tell you, you got balls even talking this much about it on YouTube.
Well, I'm not talking about the vaccine, and one of the main reasons I'm not talking about the vaccine or potential adverse effects or anything like that is because the ivermectin talk came when there wasn't even a vaccine yet. Like the vaccine wasn't out, they were working on it. We didn't know if it was going to get done, and there's doctors over there going, hey, we have this thing, and we're looking at the data, and we're like, this stuff's working. Why aren't we? Can we talk about it? And for some reason, like, they're like, no, we're just not going to talk about it. And then we got this propaganda campaign. I don't know if ivermectin, I'm not a doctor. I know that I asked my doctor about it and my doctor wouldn't give me anything. I could get zero. Joe, this is what made me so mad about COVID. I was unable to receive any treatment of any kind for my sickness. Because I'm not a smoker. I'm not diabetic. I'm not a BMI over 25, and I'm not over 65 years old. So because of those 4 reasons, they're like, he doesn't have the comorbidities to support it. I even tried playing the narcolepsy card. I'm like, well, I got narcolepsy, maybe. Like, give me some drugs. Because I was trying.
That's like George on Seinfeld when he was like pretending he's blind because he wanted to get audiobooks. That's what you're basically describing here. It's like Then the guy's like, yeah, all you have to do is sign your name, and he ends up like sticking his hand on the guy's face by accident, you know. And he's like, oh, I'm so sorry, but may I comment? You're a very handsome man.
Yeah.
So you're faking
moment.
your injuries here, so you can basically get the treatment that you're looking for. I have so much I want to say on this.
I have narcolepsy. It wasn't fake.
You don't have narcolepsy.
Yes, I'm
nobody.
diagnosed.
Nobody who doesn't live their life in a comedy movie has narcolepsy.
No, I'm a diagnosed narcoleptic.
Really? So
Yes.
you're basically. So how do you drive? How do you function on Earth? So you're telling me you're like sitting in a bathtub and all of a sudden you're just asleep, or you're in the middle of like eating your breakfast and like you have the spoon in your mouth and all of a sudden you're just like.
This bigotry.
Really?
This bigotry.
Really? I don't buy it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I get all of my narcolepsy information from Mr. Bean's character in
Apparently. Yeah, apparently.
That's
You
not how
don't have narcolepsy.
That's not how narcolepsy
This is a lie.
works, coward.
It's like
this
please.
racism and
I don't buy it. I don't buy the whole narcolepsy thing.
not
There are
selling
9 people on the
It's
planet who have
a fact.
narcolepsy,
Billboard
and every
in
one of
your
them has
yard.
their own sitcom.
I'm not sending you a bill for this. You just have to deal with these facts. This is who I am. Diagnosed with narcolepsy in 2006.
Please diagnose with narcolepsy in 2000. Yeah.
Narcolepsy is chronic daytime fatigue, I'll have you know. And not everybody who has narcolepsy has either of the comedy symptoms, which are falling asleep at random, and second, cataplexy, which is a sudden loss of muscle function. Those are the 2 comedic narcoleptic classic symptoms that are played up on TV. But
So
in
you're saying
reality,
you have fake narcolepsy. That's what you're basically saying. You're afflicted with fake narcolepsy, which is like something that you can claim. This is like you claiming you're narcoleptic is like Talcum X over there claiming he's black. Okay, you don't have narcolepsy. You know, it's like, oh, I'm a victim of my narcolepsy. The impression I felt as a narcoleptic. Please. That's not real narcolepsy. Narcolepsy is a serious problem that 4 people on the planet have, and you're trying to vulture their sympathy that they truly earn by falling asleep in the middle of like whatever coitus they're engaged in. They could be bowling and just all of a sudden pass out. It doesn't matter. But you want to just be like, oh, I'm a poor helpless narcoleptic. I don't think so.
Tell me more about how much you don't understand narcolepsy. But here we are. I thought I only had to deal with this bigotry from my doctor, but turns out no. Even from my friends,
your Jewish
lawyers.
friends. Yeah, your Jewish friends.
My Jewish, as I figured, a Jewish person would understand. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you're claiming to be Jewish? That's weird. You're not in a camp getting murdered by Nazis right now.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no, they're real.
That's the first place the Polacks go. Always to the Nazis. Always to the Nazis. Oh yeah.
Real Jews.
Why don't you just like
out
stand there
there,
like a little blonde girl going, "Goodbye, Jews." Yeah, because I don't buy your fake narcolepsy situation.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
There are real Jews running around right now with stars of David pinned all over their bodies. And you're out here claiming to be Jewish.
You know, I'm going to cordon off a section of my room to be your little safe space for you to cry about your narcolepsy over there. Because I know that I'm just going to I'll build a little wing here for you that you can curl in a corner about all the people who are so mean to you about your fake narcolepsy. Like, oh my gosh, why are people so mean to me? I have all my bad narcolepsy.
For an hour and you haven't been thrown out of a country yet. I can't possibly believe that you're actually Jewish. That this is an atrocity here.
So it doesn't work. It does. So you're telling me your whole narcolepsy thing, it didn't get you the horse medicine. Yeah, I want you to know. By the way, not to break away from this very important, breaking topic that you have narcolepsy, which I promise you, I plan on coming back to. But
I'll tell you how I got diagnosed.
When you were reading, I definitely want to hear that. That I definitely want to hear. But I want to hear about the canoe trip where all of a sudden you're going down the rapids, and the next thing you know, you were just. That's what I'm looking for. But
hold on,
I was in camp and we're canoeing, and all of a sudden, and then
I've got to bring up this chat. This is. Oh, come on, Halesburg.
Oh my gosh! And frankly, this is getting nice. Well done. I like how he's got the little Nazi symbol there for his emotic. That's great. That's great. Oh my god. Well, okay. I mean, I got to tell you, I had so much I want to weigh in on Joe Rogan, and we're going to come back to that soon. Don't let the chat worry here. We're going to come back to that soon also. I'm so terrified to speak about this topic. I feel as if this chat, your stream, your channel is like my sister's head, and my conversation that I want to have here is a pillar that I am
Islamic
about to
pillar?
I'm about to just rain down on your channel. I'll be like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean for it to happen. And then your next thing I know, your second channel is basically yeeted off the internet forever. You're on some street corner saying, like, holding up a cardboard sign.
Street corner is multi-streaming to Odyssey and Rumble.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, saying fake narcoleptic, I'll pass out on the windshield of your car for food. And yeah, that's what you have to. Can you imagine that sign on a street corner? Some guy laying on a street corner with a sign, narcolepsy, please help, and he's just like asleep like that.
I should do it.
Oh my God, that is awesome.
I gotta get someone to
This is
video it.
inspired. That is so genius. That is like the best grift ever. Sit on a street corner, like on like right outside Penn Station, with a little cardboard sign saying "narcolepsy, please help," and just like sleep like that.
And see how many people come and steal money from you.
Oh my God.
Right? You gotta have the. I gotta have the guitar case.
Yeah.
I gotta have the guitar case. The guitar like slumped over, me asleep. And then, like, some scattered 1s and 5s and 20s in the guitar case, and just have someone in the bushes recording the whole thing, and watch the people come up and like take the narcoleptic beggar's money.
Well, you see, okay, so that if you do it on a busy enough street corner in New York during the day, people don't want to do it because they're like embarrassed that people will see them robbing from like the homeless guy.
Yeah.
So it helps if you put it in like vet, because no one's checking. Your medical record. No one's checking your service records there to see whether you were like in the armed forces or a Marine. If you say former Marine discharged for narcolepsy, please help, and then you just like tilt your head back and fall asleep there. I think you can make a killing. You could definitely survive on that, I think. So tell us the story. Tell us the story as to how you were judged and deemed by the medical world to be a narcoleptic.
I was working at Wells Fargo.
Right.
And
wait, so how old are you now?
25, 26 at the time.
Okay.
So this is 2006. And okay, so a very brief backstory. When I got hired for Wells Fargo as a personal banker, it was part of this program that they had called the Forward Hire Program. And what they would do is they'd get together a class, and you would go to downtown Minneapolis to the Wells Fargo headquarters, and you did like a 6-week course in personal banking. Okay. And then everybody graduated, and when they hired us, they promised that you would be placed at a Wells Fargo within 5 minutes of your house, because Wells Fargos are everywhere in Minnesota. They're all over. The Wells Fargo, the one that was left after the government nationalized the Wells Fargo delivery service during World War I, the one Wells Fargo bank was in downtown San Francisco, but they bought Norwest Bank, or more appropriately, Norwest Bank bought Wells Fargo, but preserved the name and the history. And Norwest is based out of Minnesota.
This is a long introduction to a story.
It is.
But yeah,
it is. But this is important.
Yeah.
Their promise upon hiring me was that I would be placed within 5 minutes of my home. They placed me over 40 minutes away with no traffic. They put me in downtown St. Paul, and it was so. It was really hard to gauge going to downtown St. Paul. Downtown Minneapolis is consistently bad traffic. So you always know if you're driving to downtown in rush hour, it's going to take you an hour and a half to 2 hours to get from where I live to downtown Minneapolis. But St. Paul's different. Some days it'll take you 40 minutes. If there's any traffic, though, it's going to be an hour and a half. And so this is the important part. I missed a meeting on a Wednesday morning at Wells Fargo because they had a team meeting every morning, every Wednesday, and I missed it. I was 3 minutes late, and I missed the entire meeting. That's how important this meeting was, right?
One of those critical 3-minute meetings.
My boss comes to my table, and her nickname was Circle K because she's a big fat lady whose name started with K. So her nickname was Circle K. She sits down at my desk, and she's yelling at me about missing this very important meeting. Look, I can summarize the meeting. This week's product is home equity lines of credit. Because every week's product is home equity lines of credit, right?
Okay.
And so, she's like, you missed a very important sales meeting, and blah blah blah. And I'm sitting there yawning, and I'm yawning like behind my breath, I like keeping my mouth closed, but you can tell, right?
Yeah.
And she goes, "Am I boring you?" And I said, "No, like yes, but no. This is not personal. I'm just so damn tired all the time right now. Like all the time, I'm tired." And she goes, "Well, why don't you take the day off tomorrow and go to the doctor?" And I said, "All right." So I go to the doctor. And I tell the doctor, I'm like, I'm so tired all the time. And so he gives me a quiz. And you take this little quiz, and I scored, in the needs further research on extreme daytime fatigue. And so then I had to go to a sleep doctor. So I go to the sleep doctor and I do the sleep study. They put all the wires in your head.
Really?
You look like a Jamaican. You got dreadlocks all over the place, but like the Predator, because the dreadlocks are electronic. And you're walking around this stupid clinic, and they have you sleep for 8 hours, a full night's sleep, which who sleeps for 8 hours when they're 25 or whatever. So I go to sleep for 8 hours, and they're like, well, you don't have apnea or anything, so you slept fine. Now we have to do this test. So you just slept for 8 hours. Every 2 hours, you're going to take a nap, and we're going to measure how long it takes you to fall asleep. Now, Joe, can you take a nap 2 hours after you wake up after sleeping 8 hours?
Not a chance.
Okay. I can take 5 naps in a row following 8 hours of sleep, and they measure how long it takes you to fall asleep. And if on any 2 of them you fall asleep in under 5 minutes, you're considered narcoleptic. Well, the longest time it took me to fall asleep was 4.5 minutes. The shortest time was 30 seconds, and the average time was 1.5 minutes.
Wow.
So after a full night's sleep,
So you basically
remember, my head is covered in glue and electronics as well. So I'm not taking a nap in like comfort of my lounger here. I've got a fat guy looking at me in this gown, and my head is wired up like I'm Nancy Pelosi's little slave children or whatever computer that they make out of organic children parts. But and I'm able to fall asleep like that, like clockwork. And I can still do it now. If I lay down to go to sleep, typically speaking, I'll be out very quickly.
Right. So I would call that early old age. That's what I would. But I can call it. I can call it fakeolepsy if you like.
I've only been diagnosed with this for 15 years. I'm fully medicated for it when I need to be. On long trips, I am medicated, actually. On long drives.
But to make sure that you don't fall asleep at the wheel?
Yep.
So what's medication? Red Bull?
Provigil. Provigil is a great drug developed for bomber pilots to stay awake for 60-hour missions.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not just uppers? Isn't that really all it is?
It's a non-narcotic stimulant.
Really?
Because I used to be on Ritalin. Ritalin is one of the meds, but my family has a history of heart disease, and Ritalin is not good for a history of heart disease. So, and I tried taking Adderall, and Adderall actually put me to sleep. Like irrecoverable, probably should have gone to the hospital sleep, because I was not able to be woken up for hours. And so then, because those 2 medications failed, I was approved for Provigil, which is great, but I don't take it most of the time. I now just sleep when I want to. It's the beauty of YouTube, right? I don't have to be awake in the morning.
All right. Are we going to finish this Joe Rogan thing with Dr. Sanjay?
I don't know. You want to call me a faker anymore, Joe?
No. I don't see you're a faker. I mean, people call you a grifter, and you get offended. I say you have fakeolepsy. I'm sorry. But
okay, fake Judaism or whatever. I don't believe you. I haven't seen anybody oppress you on this stream except for me. But I'm not anti-Semitic, so I'm oppressing you for other reasons.
There you go.
So here we go. Let's get back to this.
So fast, like I feel like I'm missing.
Do you think that's a problem, that your news network lies?
Well, I don't.
Dude,
what did they say?
They lied and said I was taking horse dewormer. First of all, it was prescribed to me by a doctor.
Yeah.
Along
they
with
shouldn't have said
a
it was
bunch of other medications.
If you got a human pill, because there were people that were taking the veterinary medication, and you're not, obviously. You got it from a doctor, so that it shouldn't be called that. Ivermectin can be a very effective medication for parasitic disease, and as you say, it's probably, I think 250 million people have taken it around the world.
More,
I get that.
way more.
So
way more. Billions of people have taken it.
Can I just come back to the one I want to talk about? Two things
on
the ledger.
You have, before we get to that, does it bother you that the news network you work for out and out lied, just outright lied about me taking horse dewormer?
They shouldn't have said that.
Why did they do that?
Oh, that's a good clip. I like that clip.
Yeah, no, that's great.
I'm not the biggest Rogan fan in general, and it has nothing to do with this podcast and everything to do with when he was announcing for UFC. He used to overuse the threat of the omoplata